Yeah, definitely. Especially now that we saw that Tekken Kid is not afraid to stray from those meta heroes. Did play the Zavarog in that last game, and Okarem on the other side for the Crutches team was kind of just destroying in the semifinals. That was off stream, like he was playing that Zaras, and he made life absolutely miserable for the enemy Rux. So definitely gonna be interesting to see like how those off-lane sort of carry players can fit against each other. As we are having a look at the draft, we see the standard draft, the standard draft bans. We see the dwarf getting banned. Argus, just get him out of here. Thank you very much.
It sounds like you're not really an Argus fan, and I don't know about everyone else in the chat. I've been playing a bit of Argus in mid. He's fun to play, but I feel like he's more oppressive as a support. Like mid, he's okay, and you can definitely snowball, but as a support, he's one of my least favorite ones to play against right now. And an Argus Wraith combo is just you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah, I'm still convinced that the only reason why Argus is as strong as he is because Omeda saw us complain about Quang and they were like, we can one-up you, no problem at all. And that hero is also going to get banned. So Argus, Quang, the two latest heroes are just going to get removed in this draft. We are just going to see all of those heroes that we didn't see too much before. The Rampages, the Deckers that used to be those bans just getting replaced now by those new heroes. And we see that Bellica being picked first.
Completely okay with this, and I know that if Soul Reaper is still in chat, he's just angry right now. He's seething with hatred. He I think is the top Bellica hater. He just loathes Bellica, just constantly asking for a nerf. So I'm happy to see Bellica actually, and I love seeing teams pick Bellica and play around her because the knockup is just so incredibly strong. So be interesting to see who is going to be going against the Bellica in mid. But as we're waiting for the next picks here, we do have a rampage for Team BengalMac jungle pick coming out. Uh, Going back to the Wally J video, right? He mentioned the first game that he ever played, and that stood out to me is The Legend of Zelda, right? A Link to the Past. What is your first game? Because I happen to share that same. That was the game that got me into gaming, right? Super Nintendo got it for Christmas. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. What was yours, Tang?
Yeah, I think I show that I'm from Europe, and my first game was Gothic. Back then, it was like an RPG, not that well known outside of Europe, but it definitely ignited that love for gaming that we are also gonna be able to see on both of those teams in action. Now, picking that Wind Blast as the second hero is definitely gonna be interesting. Usually, we don't really see those ADCs being picked too early, but maybe they have something cooked up. That Rampage being picked up can be outplayed by the Bellica with a good Void Drone, but overall just provides so much utility with that stun, with so much tanking as well. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how Team the Crutch is gonna pick into it.
Yeah, I mean, look, just pulling up Kyaruga's page here. I'm assuming he's going to be the one on the Twin Blast. He's definitely a Twin Blast enjoyer, right? He's got 202 matches. That's his top pick for hero. The next one is 78 matches with Wraith. So I'm assuming, the point of the desk, Kyaruga trying to maintain that level of momentum going into this game. He's pretty hot right now, and Twin Blast is working. Why not keep it going? But on the opposing side for Team Crutch, we've got the Zaris pick, which Zaris he's one of those characters that could do really well or just kind of tank the game. But the players that are really good with Zaris tend to set the pace. Is toward the end of the game, any Zaris ult is going to result in a kill, and then combo that with a steal. Anyone in the sights of Zaris coming into the later stages of the game is not going to have a good time.
Wombo Combo City, the Steel Slam, the Shield Slam by Steel, close one, together with the Colosseum from Saras, just providing so much lockdown together with damage. AoE makes life a living hell, but there are some counterplay options. For example, that gadget that got picked up by Team BengalMac, that one is gonna make sure that inside of that Colosseum, not even the Saras will have a good time. Now that 3 picks have been made on either side, we are gonna have the second ban rotation. So I'm looking at those drafts and we see the Murdoch ban come out from BengalMac.
Interesting ban on the Murdoch, and I mean, you said it. The gadget is actually a great counter pick to the Zara's steel combo. But maybe walk me through here. What are your initial thoughts on a ban on the Murdoch of all people?
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. It does look like Kayagura thinks that the lane is just a bit too hard for him to play into a Murdoch. There's also still a few picks open, like the Richter. I'm surprised we haven't seen that picked up yet. But if a Murdoch together with a Richter is gonna be the dual lane of the Crutch, then that might just prove to be a bit too much. So they're gonna ban away that Murdoch. Might have preferred that Richter instead to get banned away. Now we see the Decker being banned, the support pool getting pinched quite a bit by the Crutch, and we have the second pick coming up from BengalMac with the jungler being most likely taken. I'm guessing the Twin Blast will be ADC since the console player in the mid lane probably is not going to play Twin Blast. Nothing against console, of course. And the gadget has been picked. We are looking towards a support or an offlaner next. I'm not sure what they are going to opt to go for, but with a few supports being picked away, maybe it should be support, but it's going to be the Sevrog instead.
Interesting pick here. Now, Sevrog, I'm assuming, I'm just going to assume here, it's not going to be the support, right? So it's going to be either the offlaner or the jungler, but more than likely the Rampage first pick. We got an offlane Tekken Kid on the Sevrog, which, I mean, Tekken Kid tends to make any offlaner work. I don't see him on the Sevrog too often, though. So I'm not sure how that's going to go into the Zarus. I get it because, anytime Zarus ults you, if you're Sevrog, you just ult him away, kick him out of his ult, and then you're immediately safe. So it's kind of a get out of jail free card, as it were. And the ult cooldown of Sevrog, I can't remember the exact timing, but I know it's quicker than the Zarus ult, so it completely makes sense. And then we got the Drongo pick coming out for Team Crutch as the ADC, and then the Greystone as well to follow up, who I'm assuming is going to be the Crutch himself. Playing as Greystone jungle. Now, how are you feeling for Team Crutch as we're looking at their final roster?
Okay, so it's going to be a Steel Drongo dual lane. With a melee support, it's always going to be a bit hard to contest those waves, depending on what BengalMac opts to go for as the support pick. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan. We know that Richter is still up. Steel is pretty good into the Richter, so it kind of makes sense that they don't necessarily pick it away. But the Richter is just so strong in the late game. I'm a bit surprised that it goes through. But all in all, a lot of wombo combo on the side of the Crutch, with Drongo being pretty self-reliant and Greystone also loving to just dive in. Definitely a solid comp. BengalMac is rounding out their comp with another big boy, the three big boys, Rampage, Sevrog, Narbash on their side, with a lot of healing as well. That looks like an insane late game.
Yeah, I'm okay with the Narbash. I think personally, a Muriel might have been a little bit more complementary to this team comp. But there we go. We're underway. Team BengalMac has locked it in. Team The Crutch also has locked it in. And I think we are all set to get underway here. Tang, I know I don't know how much you've been watching throughout the day, but I know that Tekken Kid has been a strong staple for their ability to win games, right? It's kind of, it falls onto Tekken Kid to be able to maintain that lane advantage, and then everything else just kind of spills over. But there we go, getting into the match here underway. How are you feeling about Tekken Kid going up against Akarim?
Yeah, it's that Sevrog into Sarah's matchup. I would think it's Sarah's favorite, but time and time again, it's the Sevrog winning out in that matchup. And also, it's the Tekken Kid, right? Like, this guy is pretty good. You mentioned it before. Is just overall a really insane player. Nothing to take away though from Akarim as well. Really solid as well. On that, Sarah's proved his worth before. I was watching the Toasty stream before. Well, shout out to him, of course. They lost 2-1 in the semifinals, but Akarim kind of carried that game, not gonna lie, on the terrace that we're watching right now. So definitely thinking that whoever wins that offlane matchup is gonna have the driver's seat in this game.
For sure, for sure. Underway here, guys. We are in the finals. Can we get a little bit of hype up in chat? I don't care what emotes you got. Drop them in there. Let's get a little bit of hype. We got a best of 3. Should go pretty quick here, I imagine. Best of 3s tend to go, they don't take long. But the teams that we've got, the teams that have made it here, I think that it's going to result in a fantastic match. A lot of back and forth, and the first few minutes are definitely going to be setting the tone of the game. Man, How we feeling? How we feeling, Tang?
Yeah, I'm definitely hyped about this. Like, a big shout outs to BFC for the guys behind the scenes as well, organizing all of this. It's always a treat to see those players play together, with players from Europe joining in as well. Calipito, the jungler for Team BengalMac, is on that rampage right there, is from Europe. So a lot of NA people as well from different teams, everybody coming in together. So definitely gonna be interesting to watch as we see the laning phase start off. The Bellica in the mid lane against the Gadget. Probably not the most exciting sort of matchup. We're just gonna head over to the off lane instead, the two sort of protagonists of today's cup.
Yeah, we're already seeing Akarim trying to assert that lane dominance early, as his poke is definitely going to be able to outpoke the Sevarog. And looking to trade here early, trying to set the pace for the lane. I know that, you know, one of the strategic things that you want to do in offlane is being able to pull that lane closer to tower and being able to farm a little bit safer. And that's what Tekken Kid's trying to do, but Akarim continuing to bullying. Hopping over to the duo lane, just a little bit of back and forth. Nothing crazy to happen here. But it is going to come down to these cyclical moments as the river buff comes up at the 3-minute mark. Whether or not the jungles decide to contest those can play a big role in how the mid laners do. But yeah, just back and forth trying to set the pace for the lanes.
Definitely, and we can see the game plan already coming out. Level 2 being reached by Drongo and Steel, something you don't necessarily see too often. Narvash pretty good into Steel, can always just dunk Steel out of his dash, make sure that he can't get close onto that support. But with them reaching that level 2, they're gonna have a great time. We see both junglers starting on the red side, fully cleared already on both sides. So they're gonna do that 3 camp, and then maybe, as you mentioned just now, maybe contest that river next. That's gonna be the big sort of fight in the early game.
Yeah, looking to gain any advantage you possibly can. Now Tekken Kid having to take that back. Akarim looking to shove that wave into the tower, but I don't think that the jungler is going to allow that to occur, as we see Rampage pushing and shoving Akarim all the way back to his tower. Bellica securing the mid lane here.
Yeah, Sarah's having to run away there. That was a bit spicy off screen. The Rampage making the rotation that early, but not much happening in the mid lane. Double rivers though secured by Bellica at least.
Yeah, if you're Bellica, you're feeling pretty good right now, trying to maintain that aggression and being able to rotate early as Bellica to get further and further ahead is definitely going to be helpful here. As there's a thunk coming out, a little bit of a follow-up, as that's what you want to see, is trading some damage. A lot of that tends to be counteracted by the Narbash.
It's pretty interesting to see right here. We have both junglers kind of not having too much impact now. Greystone though on the dual lane is gonna jump in, gets the first blood just as a caster curse that Narbash goes down.
Beautiful timing there. The Crutch maintaining or being able to get that first blood. His back is going to get stopped. That's always annoying. But getting first blood as the jungler is going to feel good, as you're able to hop on back, get a tier 2 item early, and try and maintain a little bit of momentum. But hopping over to the off lane perspective, Akarim looks like he's maintaining that level of oppression in the off lane. He's just being a nuisance, right? If you're Tekken Kid, all you can really do here is allow this to happen and try and stay within range to at least get experience. But, you know, the lane advantage for Akarim, allowing him to essentially be a bully in lane and not allow Tekken Kid to farm. He's got to wait and play safe in the tower and hope for some sort of opportunity. And going into the 5-minute mark here of the game, finals looking good, but a bit of a slow start so far.
Bit of a slow start, but Tekken is fine in that off lane. The wave is pushing into him, so he's not going to lose too much, as we just saw. He's just going to be able to farm that up in that under tower, like no problem for him. But what I wanted to highlight is Sevarog did get a deep ward into the red side jungle with that gank earlier by that Rampage, buying him a bit of time. So even though he was a bit behind in XP, that should be fine now with that wave collected. And honestly, he's just mainly watching to get the Brimstone. Once he has that item, it's going to be a lot safer in that offlane, but he still has to respect that Sarah's ulti.
Right. I mean, you said it. The Brimstone is going to be that's Sevarog's ability to trade more effectively, right? The Zars is going to be healing with every single auto he gets, so really going to be trying to get to that point when we can start trading. And Rampage might be looking for an opportunity here in the off lane as we're looking at the dual lane at the same time. Try to keep track of everything that's going on all at once, but there's a solid lane advantage here in the dual lane as we got Big Opes continuing to press that aggression. A little bit of a trade going on to the Narbash there, but that's just going to result in a neutral lane reset.
Gadget in the mid lane is in a bit of trouble off screen, so is Savrog. Is gonna get ganked here by Rampage. Goes in. Sarah still has the flash up, has to disengage. Now is gonna slowly walk back. Rampage, no rock up quite yet. Savrog pretty low. Second is gonna get the kill in the 1 versus 2. Is still gonna go onto the Rampage. It goes low and lower, blinks away to stop the minion aggro, and Rampage goes down as well. Okaram just insane.
Oh no, that's a feels bad man moment, because not only did Akarim get both eliminations, but now he's at a huge advantage with the CS lead. And if you're Tekken Kid, it's not going to be feeling good because he's still a level behind. And Akarim now at level 7, it's going to result in a full item, but actually he goes down to the Scion buff, not like this.
Yeah, I think we just cast the customer a bit too much. On the right side, it's just gonna be a fast reset. No kill credit going over, no XP, no gold gained. So it's not the worst of the world. It kind of looks a bit silly, but that's about it. In the mid lane, in the meanwhile, Gadget Flash was blown off screen. Bellica got a really good trade together with the Greystone that hovered close by. So definitely looking up for the sides.
The shout out to the Scion buff being the MVP. Scion, keep doing what you're doing, man. Nailing it. Looking at a disengage here in the dual lane. That's going to be, one of their second backs, maybe getting another tier 2 item starting to come online as we don't see anything new here. Vanquisher is going to be the first item built for Drongo. I mean, it just makes sense every single time, doesn't it? Probably looking at anti-heal, yeah, for the next item. But entering just another stage here as both teams trying to maintain that presence, that lane advantage. And honestly, the off lane is looking a little rough here for Tekken Kid as he's just trying to get anything that he possibly can, but having to respect the Zarus now as he's got a significant lead, both items and CS.
And it just goes from bad to worse. I'm just looking at the minimap, and what is the Twimblers doing? Yeah, sadly, a disconnect 8 minutes into the game. That can't be a reset, so we are just gonna have to keep playing with a bit of a disadvantage now on their side. Rampage tries to even out the numbers on the dual lane, but it's just gonna make sure to clear that wave to get those CS, get himself ahead if the TB can't be there for him.
Yeah, that's just that's a feels bad man, unlucky, just trying to buy time, and really it comes down to the other team because there's after the game has started like this, eliminations have occurred. They can't restart it, so it can be kind of good sportsmanship to not press the advantage, but at the same time, you're in the finals. Do you press the advantage? Do you not? But it looks like the first Fangtooth is going to go in favor of Team the Crutch. So you've got the ADC advantage. The steal is zoning out. Rampage might look to try and get something going, but no, they're just going to maintain that presence back on up, and that's going to be the first Fangtooth going in favor of Team Crutch.
Yeah, first, thanks to being secured, no problem at all. Now Greystone is looking for a bit of a cheeky invade. Rampage is close by, is gonna get his back cancelled. Greystone just whacking on him. It's just gonna be a bit of a nuisance, but Rampage just uses that funny plant and is gonna disengage. Now Greystone gets those jungle timers. Not the biggest of things, but at least he has Rampage's number and is gonna know which side he's gonna play now all in on that other side of the map. Just as we mentioned before, ult for ult is always gonna favor the Sevarog.
Yep, and it gives the Sevarog that ability to just disengage. Doesn't want to take that fight, and you definitely don't want to give any Zar's stacks if you can help it. But I just saw in chat, and hilarious stat, there have been 5 total Scion buffs confirmed kills in BFC4 today. So again, shout out to the Scion buff. You're nailing it.
He definitely is. Who is also nailing it is the Greystone, getting that mid lane kill as well from the Gadget that didn't have the flash from that earlier engagement. Now with that Fang secured, 4 kills in, it's looking a bit scary for the Dusk team.
Yeah, looking a bit scary indeed, but lots of action, lots of trading going out as we're just double checking some settings that we want to try and enable here. Don't worry about it, team. These are not technical difficulties. This is all planned, 100% intentional.
100% everything on purpose. Yeah, changing the hero names, fun fact, is not gonna work unless you reconnect to the game. Thank you, Cynic, at this point, of course. So yeah, we are not gonna be able to swap that around, but I think it's not gonna be too big a problem.
I mean, you did your best, but fortunately for Team Kairuga, you know, he's back. He's back in the game. He's got a, or excuse me, Team Bengal Kairuga is back, back from a DC. So the advantage wasn't pressed too hard. They did manage to secure a Fangtooth, and it looks like Zaris trying to swat away the Rampage, who's looking for a little invade on the red side, and moving on here, continuing moving forward, aiming for the next objective, maybe looking for some fights as trades are coming out on the Sevarog. And Calypto does manage to secure the red buff. That's a nice little pickup if you're on the side.
Definitely a decent price for Calypso. If he can escape as well, it would be perfect. Greystone on his face. Bellica has first move, so Rampage has to disengage. Sevarog is going to be close by, making sure Colosseum drops again. Forces out the blink by Sevarog, so at least something gained right there.
A little bit of value, but Akarim still maintaining control of that lane. He's just continuing to get further and further ahead. As soon as Akarim starts joining the team fights, it's gonna be scary if you're Team BengalMac. But unsure how that's gonna happen as time goes on. The next objective, I feel like, is really gonna continue to set the tone for this game, as it looks like it's gonna be Mini Prime, and it's Akarim and the Crutch trying to maintain that. That'd be 2 objectives for their team.
Rampage is close by. He is waiting for it. It's gonna have a bit of a peek. Technikid is also close by. This might be a fight.
It is a fight. It is Team BengalMac who does come away with that. They managed to secure the Orb Prime, running in there, sniping it. That's going to be an ult coming out from the Greystone, so he's now vulnerable. Microwave coming out from the mid laner. Gadget zoning out, but Gwassi looking for something to happen here. And that's going to be the Crutch taking out the Sevarog. He's going down. Rampage, 1 HP, manages to get away. Pop Hero not able to finish, but that's 2 people who are 1 HP, and if you are Team BengalMac, you are hurting right now. They cannot get away with it.
They can't get away with it, but 5-0 that scoreline, so it looks like they actually can. Low HP bars everywhere, and it just does not work out. Greystone surviving by the skin of his teeth, and yeah, with that, just 5 kills, as I just mentioned. Yes, leads as well for their team, about 30 CS. Not the worst, honestly, at 13 minutes in the game, but if you're already behind in kills, it's gonna be really rough to be behind in CS as well. Bit more boxing in the dual lane. We haven't really seen too much action happening there, partly because that Twin Blast was not there for half the game.
Right. I mean, this game is it's a perfectionist game, right? So every little thing that happens, every little thing that you do right adds up over time. And the longer this goes on, the more momentum you gain. But you know, so far on the favor of the Crutch team. There's an ult coming out from the Zaris. That's a good rotation from him. There's a stack for him. And that is going to be the elimination secured on Calipito. And this is going to result in, it should be a free second Raptor for them as well.
Okay, look, Precipice, I was about to say, right? Like, okay, consolation prize, Rampage secures that mini prime, so it's not all bad. But what does the Fish Monster do? He tries to solo kill the Bellica in the mid lane, does not have any friends nearby, so he just gets jumped on by the funny lizard man and ends up dropping, losing that mini prime, and also giving way for that second Fangtooth to be secured by the Crutch's team.
I think we're gonna have to use that name going forward. The funny lizard man, aka Zaris, securing the elimination and kind of killing the hopes of Orb Prime doing anything. But there's an ult coming out as the Rampage is back, lands the rock. Big hopes. There's a couple blinks being utilized. Kairuga managing to secure the elimination. Great exchange of abilities and the rotation coming out from Greystone to try and save whatever's left here. Is he going to engage, or is he going to look for a different angle? I think he's just going to have to deflect this current aggression, but there's also a rotation coming out of the Gadget, which is being followed by the Zaris as Bellica is in the offlane, pushing the Sevarog back. Crutch now just looking to disengage. Probably not going to be a fight that goes in their favor if they maintain, and I completely agree with this. They might have to give up the T1 in exchange for that, though.
Very split fight. We see Gusi make his way over to the right-hand side to secure that offlane tower, force Sevrog away. But on the flip side, we see 4 members making their way over, as you mentioned, getting that first tower of the game on that dual side. So split map. Both teams know what they want. One team wants to get that Sarah's ahead. The other team wants to get to at least stabilize that dual lane that has been getting a bit worrying. We at least wanted Twin Blast to have like decent late game damage after he was disconnected earlier. So definitely heads up play. Even in a deficit, they find the angles and they find the gold on the map.
I mean, every little bit is gonna help, especially if you're playing from behind. You need those little advantages, and even like a mental thing, right? Managing to secure elimination on the ADC, who was ahead, and now they're actually matched in levels. So Kyaruga managing to stay in this game after he's been DC'd. But it looks like we're going to see a little bit of action. Sevrog looking for an angle in mid. Is he going to jump on him? Gusi now backing right out in the open. There's the root coming out. Kid does ult, but it's going to result in the blink from Gusi. And Gusi managing to make it out alive. Now, if you are the jungler, you want to be aware that that blink has been used, as you can now press that advantage on that Belica in the mid lane. Because what does Belica have here, Tank? She's got a knock up. If you hit the knock up, that's all you got. You're caught out wide out in the open.
It's a really smart play. Forcing out that blink, yeah. That Belica doesn't have the most survivability. I didn't see her crest choice. Maybe she is going to go for the stasis. At least going to make sure that she's not just going to die inside of the microwave. But no blink is always going to be a sign for that rampage that there is always that lane to gank. The mid lane, pretty exposed. Gadget knows something is up. It's going to be a bit safe. While Okuram makes his way over as well. Maybe they want to siege the tier 1.
Yeah, and this is what makes Zars so scary, because now he can just look for any sort of thing, and you got the dive potential with the Zars, and that is going to be an elimination from the Greystone, and Akram going to be able to disengage freely, and Calipito kind of in limbo here. The Crutch being forced to use his ult in the jungle, looking for maybe to continue pressing this advantage. Down by 1. Big Opes has joined the fight. There's the steel ult coming out. Big Mac is looking to be in trouble, or BengalMac is in trouble. There's the ult coming out. Does land, but Akram now picking a target, zoning out the other people from the fight. Sevrog looking to trade as much as possible. Kyaruga forced back, and I'm just not completely sure who this fight is going in favor of. Kid looking to continue pressing the invasion. Big Ope is in trouble, but the Belica knockup might just save Big Ope. There's the steel wall slowing him just enough. You want him. He does secure the elimination, but I think he's going to go down. And Kid getting 1 for his troubles, but completely taken out in the process.
Completely taken out. Big Mac, excuse me, on that Narbash also fell at the back end of that fight, so 2 for 1. But considering how far behind the Dusk team is, it's definitely not the worst sort of outcome for them. Bit of an overstep. The Greystone dove the mid lane, pressed his W key. We see here the blue buff, pretty dangerous as well, but I think Greystone will manage, at least if he has the smite up, goes lower, and he makes it with 90 HP. Okay, that actually wasn't too close, but yeah, that fight definitely interesting to watch. Pretty deep into the Dusk Side's jungle as we see Fangtooth about to spawn again.
Yeah, the Fangtooth is definitely going to be one that they need to contest, right? Team BengalMac cannot allow the third Fangtooth to come out, but there's a huge knockup from Gusi, and Akram also looking to secure another elimination. Takes out the gadget, blinks away for his troubles, but he does manage to stack up a little bit more yet again. And the chase continues here on Calipito. If they take out the jungler, that's going to remove the hunt, and with it dies the hopes of being able to try and secure this third Fangtooth. Greystone now joining the fight completely healthy. I think he's got ult available again, so just shoving out the Narbash, and the ADC has already started the Fangtooth. Akarim come in to tank the damage, and then the Greystone should be able to smite it. No problems, no questions asked. That's going to be a third Fangtooth. But Kid looking to zone out this Belica, trying to get something going here. Kyaruga does ult, and Coolio looking to join the fight, but I think this is going to result in a nothing burger as the third Fangtooth has been secured, and the disengage from them is going to happen. But the Crutch pressing the advantage into the opposing side's jungle, now looking for a disengage, but the mid continuing forward, and that's going to be Gusi going down. Just stuff happening all over the place here, Tank.
Yes, at least punishing that Bellica, not having the blink up. No, Twin Blast on the wrong side of the map is just gonna manage to channel the recoil. Shouldn't be caught here by the Greystone, but it's definitely a bit of money back in their pockets as Rampage just kind of got run down there by 3 members again. Definitely doesn't feel too good for him as we have a bit of a tap screen action. 50 CS the difference now, going in favor of the Crutch's team. For items, I was a bit surprised at Greystone's damage, going the Basilisk into that Bone Saw. A lot of survivability, a lot of damage, and he can also stick on you with that slow on that Bone Saw, so definitely a good build for him. Will not have the most armor, though, in the late game.
Right, but I guess it doesn't really matter if you've got the Greystone combo with the Steel combo with the Zarus all just kind of working together, opting for a little bit more damage and then keeping that advantage on Calypto. So I kind of understand the thought process there, but as someone who has tried Infernum Greystone, I think this one makes a lot more sense. And you know, shout out to Soul Reaper for helping me see the light. As Infernum Greystone just doesn't work. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea at some point, but I tried it and I got yelled at. But you know, never again. Lesson learned.
You know what? That's the one time where I agree with Soul Reaper, okay? Like, I don't want to see that either, so I'm definitely gonna side with Soul in that one. But yeah, Fangtooth secured, like, we didn't really mention it too much, but Fangtooth is gonna give bonus resistances, so that's gonna make the comeback even harder for the Dusk team. No, Ceres is fishing for something, has the Colosseum up, but no way to get close onto them. Bellica blinks up, it's gonna go under tower, but gets stunned. It's gonna get lower, uses the stasis to disconnect. Now, Microwave being popped, so is the Crash Bang Boom by Big Mac. Now, Gwusi is getting lower, ventilated by Twin Blast, almost finishes the deal, but Calypto does with a good rock connecting. Now, Big Opes is the target for Calypto. 3B has been pushed out. Steel misses his ultimate, and with all of that, 2 for 2.
Yeah, 2 for 2, not a bad trade. Still managing to stay in this game. If you are on the side of Team BengalMac, at least getting those 2 is keeping you in the game. If they had gotten out alive, completely unscathed yet again, that would just be a complete mood killer, a mental breaker. But at least trying to stay in the game here and get some of those shutdowns as the next Raptor coming up, right? This is going to be Primal Fangtooth, and then that is going to result. Whoever gets that should have a free pass to start the Orb Prime. And if you are Team BengalMac, you cannot allow that to happen. They have to contest the next Fangtooth, and if they don't, then you know, probably not going to end well.
It probably isn't, but we talked about one thing in draft as well. We were thinking about the late game sort of strength that their draft has for BengalMac with that Narbush, with that Rampage, with that Zabrok and Gadget. They actually just have 4 late game heroes, Twin Blast also dishing out so much damage in the late game. So I wouldn't quite say that the game is lost for them yet at all. I think if they can, as you mentioned, contest that 4th Fangtooth, that primordial Fangtooth, gonna be a big sort of advantage for them. As I see Greystone inside of that prime pit, I'm not sure if he's doing something or if he's just gonna channel a cheeky recoil. That's what was gonna be happening there. So yeah, definitely gonna have to wait a bit longer to see whether that Fangtooth fight is just gonna commence once it spawns.
Yeah, and I think if you're on the side of the Crutch TTV, if you are that team, that is your win condition right now. That's what you're looking for, and you're hoping to press that advantage. You see Akarim is creating counter pressure on the other side, and this might just signal the opening for Fangtooth. If it's, I believe it's coming up soon. It's hard to see the exact timer with the ward on it, but they might be able to just pull it if it comes up in the next few seconds. But you said it. It doesn't matter at this level of gameplay, like what your actual lead is. We saw it earlier with Grady's team. Grady was ahead. I think they were ahead by 18-6, and a couple of bad decisions, a couple of bad team fights resulted in the other team being able to come back. So that's all it takes, is making the right choices. But now setting up for this Primal Fangtooth, the Crutch, clearing the wards, kind of applying that pressure, and the other team now realizing that they have to start rotating as there's going to be a huge fight coming down here. The Crutch looking for his target as we see an engage off the screen right now. The Crutch just zoning out, and Akarim managing to pick a target. That is going to result in the Narbash going down. Looking at the next one, Akarim blinking out, getting out unscathed yet again. Big Opes also blinking, going down to low effective HP. The Rampage has gone down. That's going to be Gwassi securing an elimination on the Twin Blast. And Sevarog also going down. Only Gadget making it out alive. They're all low, but they have all lived. And that is probably going to trigger them to come right back and secure that thing too.
5-0. The fight couldn't have gone worse for BengalMac right there. Just a really good Sarah's cage, catching onto the entire backline, and Drongo with that shrapnel cannon buying so much space for himself that somehow he survives the dive as well. Now 17-7, CS scores across the board. Fangtooth is the target. It's gonna be the Primal Fang that one grants true damage on each damage instance hit, and it's really hard to take, but with nobody in the vicinity to contest that one, it's just gonna go over to the Crutch's side with no contest, as I just mentioned. Now Prime is also up. With that Primal Fangtooth, teams usually like to transition that lead into that secondary objective. The question is, can BengalMac's team contest it?
Now, can they contest it? And the question also is, will they contest with Akarim stealing the blue just to bully Calipito out of the area? But it looks like that is going to be the call. They're going to try and force a fight. And this is what you want to do. You want to force a fight while you have the Primal Fangtooth, because more than likely it's going to go in your favor, especially with everything else that has been going on this game. But taking a look down in here, the Crutch has started the Orb Prime, and this is going to apply pressure, but it looks like the opposing team, the BengalMac, just not opting to contest it at all. They're just trying to push out the lanes as far as they can and conceding both buffs. I don't know if I agree with that call here.
I mean, if you think there's no way for you to fight this, then I think it's okay. They push out the wave. They also waste a bit of time on that Primordial Blaze on that Fangtooth. But that one is only temporary. So if they can get those waves shoved in, they should be fine. Now, Steel, Bellica, they're trying to maybe catch someone. Gadget is a bit further away. Tekken might have to buy a bit of space for his team. Slow connects. Pussy blinks in, is not going to connect with that knockup though. And with that, the rest of the team should be out.
Yeah, Blinks utilized, managing to make it out alive after shoving the wave all the way down, but it's almost like the writing is on the wall here. They bought a little bit of time, but is it going to be enough? Calipito trying to defend the T2, but I think with the miss of the rock, the Crutch is just going to go ahead and walk in and take that one down. There's the stone wall coming out, stunning the Crutch, and it might be the ability. It's going to give the Rampage the ability to go ahead and back off and reset, but I think here the Team BengalMac is kind of on borrowed time, as they need to buy a lot of time. Might be a pickup here on the Bellica. There is the root coming down, the stasis coming out, but that is going to be the Bellica go down. The small pick could signal some life here for BengalMac to defend, coming as the waves are starting to collapse.
Mid lane, next target, Oku is fishing for something. Fangtooth still up on 4 members. Grim is just buying a bit of space for his team. Is going to use the Colosseum aggressively onto the Sevarog that does not have the ultimate up now. Saras though gets burst down. Gadget also connecting with that microwave, forces the blink, still goes down. 5 members still remaining on the side of BengalMac. TB once more is going to chase inwards. Fang has expired now. Drongo is in trouble. Calipito just fighting against Greystone on the other side of the map, but it looks like they've survived the hardest.
Yeah, survived the hardest. Now the Rampage ult coming down just to try and shove the Crutch away. So this might at least buy them some time to wait to that next buff, as that's definitely what they're going to be signaling toward. They're going to have to shove out these waves and 100% contest that buff. But another fight coming out here in the jungle is that the Raptor buff has fallen off. Still Orb Prime remaining. Are they going to chase here, though? The ult comes out, but the steel wall is going to result in that ventilate doing absolutely nothing. Not sure if maybe he pressed it. A little bit of lag there, but he's shooting a wall effectively. And the Rampage still fighting this Greystone in the off lane. This is probably one of the weirdest fights, is neither one of them does a lot of damage, but a nice stun comes out from, again, the Stonewall, and that's going to result in the Crutch having to back off at least. And the TB trying to chase and maybe take out this Greystone. That would be a huge pick coming up, as the Fang Going to be coming up here soon. There's the ult from Greystone, but I think they're going to be able to disengage.
Okay, so TB Blink, Greystone Blink, Rampage, ult used, didn't use Blink. Now Crutch goes in, Okiram uses the Blink to gap close. It's gonna go onto the TB that has no Blink up now. It's just gonna die inside of the Colosseum. Narvish might be the next target. Microwave not connecting because he's out of range. Rock does though onto Greystone, but not enough damage. And Sephiroth is on the other side of the map, but they might just be pushing in that inhib.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of Sevarog's only play here, is to try and create a little bit of counter pressure. He was already in position. Teammates have died. So the only thing he can really do is continue to create that counter pressure and then come back for the defense. Yeah, you said it, the Blink does come out of the Rampage, and now looking to continue pressing the advantage is the Crutch, but maybe signaling a back off here as that Fangtooth is coming up. It might just be a free one. But if you're on the side of BengalMac, what do you do here, Tank? You have to contest this, do you not?
Honestly, I'm just surprised that they're still in the game. Like, with that double bubble buff push that we saw before, and somehow that's the one fight they win. They lose every single fight, but if all the odds are stacked against them, they suddenly manage to win that. Now, with that Fang being started up by Okiram that can dodge out on the true damage with his barricade, it's gonna be another contest. Rampage close by.
Yeah, I don't think the Rampage has Behemoth available. He really needs to just jump in there, rock, and try and smite it, but I think this is going to buy just enough time. The Fangtooth is going to go in favor of the Crutch, but now how do they get out of this? That's going to be the Rampage going down as momentum. The snowball is beginning to show its face yet again. They've got the one buff. The Orb Prime is going to be coming up soon. They can continue pressing down this mid advantage, try and get an inhib, and probably look at the Orb Prime, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do as we see Gwassi looking for something, doesn't quite connect there, and pressing the advantage onto this mid inhib. I think that's going to be a free inhib, but the microwave is coming out, and Okiram does get stunned. That's a great pick from them. Might result in a little bit of life as the ult the blink comes out from... Oh my goodness, there's too much going on. The Crutch now having the ult. I can't tell who's winning the fight here, Tank.
Greystone runs away, 1 HP, is gonna manage to survive. They're fighting against the odds again. Now Ventilate's connecting onto Greystone, is gonna secure that kill, 2 for 1. Only Rampage falling before on that contest. But yeah, I mean, we were just saying it, like, if the enemy team has buffs, suddenly it's a different beast for BengalMac, and they just completely destroy in this team fight again, with Okiram just being a bit too far out.
I feel like that gadget ult combined with that root was just perfect, and then the thunk coming out, the wombo combo from the opposing side, managing to at least secure the elimination on Okiram, and that resulted in the Greystone being like, oh wait, I gotta try and defend my teammates as they're coming out. His ult going down, and now him being eliminated for this Orb Prime. It should be a free Orb Prime as the Greystone is still 20 seconds away from being alive. And I think that's going to be the case, but still a lot of danger here. It's the Bellica and the combination from Big Oaks. It's going to do a lot of damage. Yeah, the Fangtooth buff still coming. There's the microwave coming out. Tekken Kid looking to continue to zone. Orb Prime does go in their favor, but Tekken Kid getting taken out. There's the Narbash going down as well. I'm not sure that they're winning the fight here. There is going to be an elimination onto Big Oaks as a couple trades do come out, but Okiram is still hunting.
They're still in the pit. Twimblers goes down. Steel is gonna go onto the gadget. Now Okiram is gonna look for gadget for Saras, but is gonna be able to run away. No, gadget uses the blink, uses the Stacy, uses everything, doesn't get away, and Rampage also falls to the hands of the Saras. And once they get those primes, once they get those objectives, suddenly it looks like those fights are not as easy anymore, as we see Saras pushed on the off lane. The rest of the members push down the mid lane. The core might be the target.
Absolutely heartbreaking there. I felt for the gadget in that moment. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to blink over a wall only to slowly slide down, and then you just accept your fate. But that's going to be the off lane inhib going down. The mid lane inhib is also being pressed. We're going to have Narbash coming up. Sevarog is also going to be live here in a second, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, as we've got a couple waves crashing. Still very healthy on the side of the Crutch, and there's the wall, there's the ult onto Tekken Kid just to try and shove something to happen, but I think that's going to be it, as the Crutch TTV team now taken game one.